If we compare a fear experience in the video game industry to a body, we can say with certainty that the heart of that fear is space, atmosphere, and how it is designed, because I personally believe that if a scary game appears weak or fails in these cases, it will completely lose its connection to other parts and even cause these parts to have an effect. And they lose their ability. Not long ago during the video, we discussed the action element in horror genre games, and it can be said that the Anatomy of Fear is actually a sequel to that video. In the following, we want to see how effective the space and design stages are in this genre, and if not implemented properly, what results it will bring for that effect. Some of the most important questions a game maker must ask themselves in order to create a logical, engaging environment are: what is it? What goal is it pursuing? What unique characteristics do you have? And how can the player interact with this environment and witness the process of action and reaction? Unfortunately, many builders today do not observe this issue, and therefore most of us see some extremely empty and aimless approaches to designing the stages that are between the ground and the air, and are just that they are. Let me give you an example, but you better understand what I mean. The Callisto Protocol is one of the best examples for expanding the discussion of designing aimless and sometimes even irrational steps. In parts of the game, you'll walk into environments and parts of it that officially follow no logic, law, or idea, but only where the player is wasting the player's time and making it look like they are eager to search for them, but in reality, they have nothing to offer. You might be saying it now. Is it bad? This environment makes the player look for more search in the environment, and this is one of the main characteristics of the effects of survival horror. In answer to that, that is exactly the problem. This is useful when the environment has a clear and established purpose, but these discrete parts not only have nothing to offer, but in order to create futile challenges, they merely throw a few enemies at the player to spend its ammunition, so that they can artificially and forcefully evoke a sense of survival when they are nothing but an empty trap. I remember seeing a large subroom as part of the game, and immediately I thought, there's definitely something to find in this room. So I entered it, and after a few steps I was confronted with several enemies, and here I was almost certain that something was hidden at the end of the room, or else why would the game have to force me to fight it? After taking down all these enemies, I finally reached the end of the room, and to my surprise, I found only a dead end devoid of any items or ammunition. Still, after months of experience in this game, I still wonder what logic was there behind the design and the existence of that part of the game map. These problems in the design of the game not only make the game's technical dissociation clearly visible and felt, but also show how the weakness of the most important elements of a survival horror effect can bring the entire experience to its knees. The lack of purposefulness in the design of the stages makes the enemies and dangers of the game lose their weight and importance and become only obstacles that the game imposes on you. So every time I entered a new environment, instead of fear or curiosity, I was just waiting for the obstacles to appear in front of me, to destroy them and hope that at the end of this environment there would be a goal. The stages of the game lost their identity in my eyes and became merely a handful of 3D assets that were not clear if they were really rational or not. In addition, one of the biggest characteristics of a horror game experience, that search, and drowns in its environment, is completely violated, and the connection of the player with the environment is completely destroyed. But there are always many games that follow the objective law in the horror genre in a very good way. In order to create an effective environment and a memorable and scary world, the pillar of purpose must be strictly observed. Different points of the environment must move along the tipping point that gives it meaning and connects it to other parts of the body of that scary effect, and also plays with the mind and brain of the player. For example, the existence of puzzles in many games of this genre, in addition to creating an attractive challenge in the process of playing the game, allow the creators to design their environment and stages beyond just a place, and with their creativity give a deeper and more important meaning to the structure of their game world, which makes the player feel more than before that it lives in an interactive ecosystem, and it has the ability to touch and influence it. Of course, the creation and design of an environment and a purposeful world is much more than the issues we have dealt with so far. These topics were more a general look at this topic, but the purpose itself has different dimensions that we will discuss in detail and specific.